week of 2012, and already we've heard of two big-name couples splitting, Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore, and Heidi Klum and Seal. And so contrary to the popular belief that January is the season of beginnings and February is the season of love, attorney Jesus Silva, joining us today on the show, family lawyer, is telling us that January could also be the season of endings and February could also be the season of divorce, and that is why high statistics for divorce around this season?
Extremely, and with good reason. Like we said, there are definitely some social reasons why it tends to culminate in a divorce at this time of year, but also there's some pretty good economic reasons and some good ways to try to protect oneself.
Right.
If you suspect that you have a spouse that may be cheating on you, it's important for parties to know that in California, everybody has an affirmative duty to not breach a fiduciary obligation to your spouse.
Okay, what does that mean?
Well, it's enforceable. In other words, every spouse owns their own marriage, and you can't just spend monies on other people without the consent of your spouse. So every spouse has a right to know, where are the monies in my household being spent?
Right.
And if they demand it, and the other person lies to you, it's fraud.
Because I also hear that because California is a no-fault state, even if your husband or wife is cheating, it's not. What does that mean?
That's true. In regards, you can't say that I want a divorce simply because I found another love in my life. That is irrelevant to the concept of wanting a divorce.
Right.
But with regards to trying to get reimbursement, when somebody's actually misspent some of your household monies, everybody in California should know that you have a right to claim those back. You have a right to demand as much as 50% of every dollar that is spent within your household that you didn't consent to.
So say, for example, your husband is cheating, spent maybe $50,000 on another girl. You have a right to claim those back. He needs to bring that back, give that back to you.
And if you demand it, and they actually try to disclose to you that I never spent this $50,000, the spender of that $50,000 could actually lose all 50, not just half, but 100% of it. So the fraudulent aspect of this can be rather penalty prone.
Okay, there is another way for you here to protect yourself if you're going through something very difficult like this. General community property, regardless of name owner, what does that mean?
A lot of people misconstrue the idea that if somebody's holding monies in your account or your husband's or wife's account, that money belongs to them. It does not. In California, if you're married, anything that you acquired during that time, excepting inheritance and gifts, is going to look like community property. So name on an account means virtually nothing. It's just semantic title.
Do you need to prove it, though, that it's your part, you're together in this, or you own this together, if it's under somebody's name?
If you can prove that you acquired it during the marriage, that will suffice. Most times. There are plenty of little exceptions, but most of the times, yes. And
this is considering that there's no prenuptial agreement.
Right, exactly. Right. Anybody can change the terms of their marriage by getting into a prenuptial agreement. Even post-nuptial, after the marriage, you can even change the terms of the law.
Yes. Last 2 minutes here in the segment, you've discussed very thoroughly some of the issues surrounding this issue. But, you know, prenuptial, postnuptial, just as a means of safety for people out there watching, how important is it?
Extremely. Everybody should be proactive in watching where the finances in your community household is being spent. Nobody should ever think that they need to be the doorstep of somebody else who's controlling the income or has their names on the bank account or simply the income-earning employed spouse. It's unfair to not treat each dollar as if 50 cents of it belongs to the other spouse.
After all, it's also, I guess, it's a venture that you're getting into when you get married. It's not just about emotions, I suppose. But Attorney Silva, you mentioned earlier, a third of marriages, in your experience, break down because of cheating. A third is because of financial reasons. What's the other third?
Falling out of love. Who knows why, you know?
And that said, what would you recommend to people watching us right now if they are thinking, considering, what would be the best advice you could give them?
Rest upon your family. Think about, take a long and protracted look at your life and figure out whether or not you really want to go down the line of trying to maintain and save a relationship. Often it very much it has strong benefits, especially if there's children involved. But if you have fewer ties, or if you think you can go ahead and raise the children on your own with the help of your support network, think about taking the next step to get you into a happier place. Right.
Great family lawyer. They usually help separate, divorce people, but Attorney Silva obviously giving us that advice. Think long and hard about your marriages if it can be worth saving. But if not, that's the number to call on the screen. Check them out. Attorney Silva will help you. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today.
My pleasure.
We will be back with entertainment news. Don't go away.